Hello chess family, it's me National Master Jesse James, and today we're going to go over 4 opening traps in the Ruy Lopez plus a bonus game with Capablanca showing us how it's done. Alright, here we go. Let's start with the Rio Gambit. We start with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5. Okay, we got a Ruy Lopez right here. Knight f6, the Berlin defense. Castles here, main line, and here they're going to be going ahead and playing knight takes on e4. This is known as the Rio Gambit, and after pawn to d4 here, well, this is the best move in the position. Now there is many opening traps here, but here we're going to go ahead and play e takes on d4. A lot of people will play this one, and well, this is just going to be bad because now we get the pin. Here we go, rook goes over to e1, black plays d5, a very typical move here, and now, well, by all means, knight takes d4 is the main line. Here in the Rio Gambit, we're going to go ahead and mess with our opponent and play queen takes on d4. You should definitely try this one. All right, what does black play here? Well, they're going to want to take the queen, so what are they going to play? They're going to try and kick your bishop, pawn to a6, and here we're going to go ahead and take, and then here is the move. You ready? Here we play knight to g5 here. And, well, black goes ahead and plays queen to f6, and the game is over. White to move and win. What do you play here? All right, hopefully you push pause, try to figure it out. Here we have the very good move of knight takes on e4, and it is game over here. Okay, can we just play queen takes on d4? This actually leads to a quick checkmate. With that being said, let's take a look at the idea if they go ahead and play pawn takes on e4. After pawn takes, now we're just winning with queen takes on e4 check. Here they cannot block with the bishop, or else we get queen takes c6 check, winning the rook over here. Okay, can't we just play something like bishop to e7? Here we get the very beautiful move. Again, the idea is queen takes c6 check, so we get to play bishop to g5 exclam. Ooh, game over here. Of course, the queen is not going to want to trade, but, well, there really is no good move for them. So here we'll take a look at the main idea where they go ahead and just play that other move, which is queen takes on d4. And, well, after this, it's checkmate in 2. Feel free to push pause if you want to. If not, enjoy the show. Here we go. It is actually knight to f6 double check. Here the rook and knight are both attacking. The king has only one move. The king must go to d8, and now we get this nice move of rook to e8 for check and mate. I'd like to call this one the bishop's mate in the Cusio defense. Here we go again. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop to b5, knight g to e7. Not one of the best moves, but it does definitely move here. We got the Cusio defense. The simple idea being is that if you take, well, they can just take back with the knight, not messing up the pawn structure. Okay, pawn to c3 gets played, as any Ruy Lopez player will play. Pawn to d6, kind of looks like a Steinitz defense now. And here we go, d4 taking the center. Bishop to d7, castles, knight to g6, knight to g5. Here we're trying to put pressure on the f7 square and also fish for them to play h6 here, which is our trappy idea. Well, apparently black did not know this, so he goes ahead and plays pawn to h6, and now it is white to move and go for the attack. What do you play here? All right, hopefully it didn't take you too long, but here we have the very nice idea of knight takes on f7. Well, if you don't take back, you're just losing, so king takes on f7, and the whole idea here is that this knight is going to be weak over here. So here we go, bishop c4 check, and here the king goes to e7. After this, it is just game over at this point. Was there any moves that you could play? Here there's only one move that you could try, which was king to e8 right here. And then after queen h5, then black plays queen to f6. Now the game's not over here. Things are still very complicated with f5, f4 idea. And of course, if pawn takes, well, then you just have rook takes on f4 due to the pin. All right, with that being said, here after bishop c4 check, king e7 got played, and now it is just game over here. What do you play? Queen to h5. A double threat here. Mostly everyone's looking at this idea about taking the knight. You're missing it. Here black went ahead and played queen e8, and now it is checkmate in 2. That's why I like to call it the crisscross checkmate. What do you play? Of course, here you could play bishop to g5 check, but remember, use a little class here. Let's go ahead and play queen to g5 check, and it is game over on these diagonals. Nothing better. We have to go ahead and take. Bishop takes on g5 check, and it is game over. All right, on to the next one, Igor's hidden line. This is also in the Berlin defense. Here we go. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop to b5 for Ruy Lopez. Pawn to a6, Morphy's defense. Bishop a4, knight to f6. And here we go, queen to e2, the Wormhole attack. Black plays pawn to b5, bishop to b3. Here we go, bishop to e7. And now, well, pawn to a4 gets played. This is a very popular move, trying to take advantage of this pin right here. And here, black goes ahead and plays pawn to b4. Okay, here we go, pawn to d4, trying to open up the center here. This is still theory. And here, black goes ahead and plays pawn to d6, the crucial mistake. Now here, black is more than welcome to go ahead and take on d4 here with e takes on d4, but then white takes the advantage with pawn to b5 here. Oof, at this point, the knight really has no good square to move to. You can't go to d5, you can't go to to e4, and if you do go to g4 over here, well, unprotected knight, there's a few good moves to play here. You can definitely play the queen to e4 here for attack on the knight. And what does the knight do? No real good move. The knight must retreat. And here, after bishop takes, g takes, it's pretty obvious to see here that black's king side is just messed up. In this game, black did make that mistake and went ahead and played pawn to d6, and now it is just white to move and win. What do you play here? Here, remember, always look for the weaknesses. In this case, we had an undefended knight, and f7 was very weak. So we go ahead and play queen to c4 here for a double attack, and it is just game over now. All right, knight takes on d4, queen takes on f7, check, king to d7, knight takes on d4, pawn takes, bishop e6 check, king over to c6, bishop d5 check. Here we're just going to be winning this rook. Knight takes, queen takes, king to d7, and queen takes on a8. You're just up a full extra rook here, and it should be an easy game. All right, for our last trap here, I know a lot of you guys know this one, but for those who haven't seen it, this is the fishing pole trap. Remember to stick around to see the bonus game with Capablanca. All right, and if you are liking the content, don't forget to give us a like and a subscribe. All right, here we go. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, Ruy Lopez, pawn a6, Morphy's defense, bishop takes, pawn takes. This is going to be starting to help us out. And here we go, castles. Remember, do not take the pawn on e5 here, as black just gets a better game with queen to d4, attacking both the pawn and the knight. You're going to go ahead and lose this and go into a bad endgame here. Black has the bishop here. So back to the game. After this move, white goes ahead and castles, and now we can start preparing for that fishing pole trap. Here we play bishop g4, again fishing for them to go ahead and play pawn to h3. They go ahead and oblige us. They go ahead and play it. And here we're going to go ahead and hopefully they'll take it. Pawn to h5. We want them to take here so we can open up the h file, and then we can bring our queen in. And again, if white's not paying attention, they do not have to take. They can just play something like d3. They're going to go ahead and play pawn takes on g4 here. Pawn takes, knight takes on e5, and now it is forced checkmate in 4. Queen to h4, and there's no good way for this king to escape. Pawn f3, trying to get access to the f2 square. Let's just shut them down. Here we go, pawn to g3. And, well, it doesn't really matter what you play here. We're going to say white plays pawn to a3 because what does it matter? Here we have queen to h1 for check and mate. All right, now it's time for the bonus game with Capablanca, showing us how the Ruy Lopez should be played. Here we go, e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop to b5 here, Ruy Lopez, knight f6, the Berlin defense. Here Kappa goes ahead and castles. Pawn to d6, this is the Berlin or Steinitz variation right here. It's a very, very solid structure that people have a hard time playing because, well, there's just no weaknesses in it. But here, Kappa plays it correctly. Pawn to d4 here, trying to open up the center because the king is in the center, so we're going to go ahead and try to open this up as soon as possible. Black keeps it solid with bishop to d7, knight over to c3, bishop to e7, and here rook to b1. Here, everything looks nice and fine here. The knights and bishops are all being developed. And here we continue with e takes on d4. Not the best move in the position, but it does make sense. Here, black doesn't want these other pawn moves to take place, so he's going to go ahead and take here, and hopefully he can make this a nice outpost for his piece. Knight takes on d4, and here black plays smart, trades. Here, you know, especially when you're playing against Capablanca, the more trades, the better, right? You can go to an endgame, and this is exactly what black wants. Remember, he has less space here with his pieces, so by making a few trades here, it's going to help even things out. Unfortunately for him, he's playing the great Kappa. So, knight takes on d4, queen takes on d4, bishop takes on b5, knight takes on b5, and then castles happens here. Here, Kappa finds a very nice idea. This knight's not doing too much over here, so if you can, try to envision where's a good square for this knight to move to next. Here, a lot of people will miss this one, so I encourage you, go ahead and push pause. See if you can find it. All right, this is by no means trying to figure out tactics. This is just strategic thinking. Here, this knight is out of play. Let's get into a good idea. Here, Kappa goes and plays queen to c3. A nice tempo move by attacking on c7, but the real idea here is to play knight d4. A knight in the center is good, and you can see that the knight on f5 is very strong. Remember, as Kasparov said, a knight on f5 or f4 is worth the pawn because they have such good attacking chances. All right, pawn c6 got played. Kappa says, how did you know I wanted to move my knight? Knight to d4, thank you for the free tempo. Knight to d7, knight to f5. Nice checkmate threat over here. Here the game goes by so nicely. Also notice when c6 was played, d6 now became a weak pawn. This is known as the backwards pawn that can't be moved forward without being lost. Okay, bishop f6, guarding that. Queen over to g3, a nice attack here, putting pressure on d6, but also on g7. The final combination here by Kappa is very nice. Knight to e5 gets played. It looks like Black had this all figured out, but here Kappa keeps adding the pressure. Bishop f4 over here, threatening to put pressure on d6 and also on the knight over here. Queen over to c7. Rook a to d1, rook a to d8. Everything looks nice and fine here. And now Kappa starts putting on the pressure heavily here. Here it's white to move and start a very nice combination. I highly encourage you to push pause here. All right, did you push pause? Did you look for some tactical motifs? All right, here we go. Rook takes on d6 here. Rook takes on d6, and now bishop takes on e5. What a beautiful idea here. Notice that you cannot take on e5 here or else it's game over. Queen takes on e5 and now it's checkmate on g7 and also threatening the rook. Notice, of course, you can't move the rook over as this was also a pin and it's going to be free queen time. All right, let's go back. Here after bishop takes on e5, Black went ahead and tried rook to d1 and, well, this looks like a very good move. Okay, so you're threatening checkmate but also threatening to win on e5 here. Well, I guess Kappa really has no choice. He went ahead and played. Rook takes on d1. And here, bishop takes on e5. Now, white to move and win. This combination is so beautiful. All right, here we go. Knight to h6 check. Black has no other moves. He must play king h8. And now, here is the idea. White to move and win. Can you find it? All right, hopefully you tried to take a look. Always look at all the checks in the position. Here we see you play queen takes on e5 exclam. Wait a second, can't you just take back? You can, but it's going to be losing. As after queen takes, now you get knight takes on f7 check. Here forking the king and the queen. And of course, you see that rook takes is going to lead to a back rank checkmate. Here, well, Black had nothing better, so he just went ahead and gave up. He went ahead and played rook takes, and now rook check, queen back, check, rook f8, check, and mate. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this. I will be adding some Ruy Lopez videos as I think it's one of the best ways to deal with pawn to e5. And if you haven't already, go ahead and give us that like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.